All right, it is 6:30. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here at Elijah's. I'm Kathy Hyatt. I'm president of the Democratic Women's Club, and we're about to start. Is Amber on the call so she can do her mindfulness moment? She's not here yet. When she comes on, let me know. All right, well, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the agenda. All right, it's moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. We are going to move on to candidates. Do we have anybody in the room that is running for office? Thought he was getting up and coming to me, but I guess not. So we don't have any candidates. So that's a first. Anybody online? And Susan Jackson. Do you have a candidate to speak about, Jackson?
Hello. No, just here as a club member. I don't have a. Oh, I can start my. Oh, hello. No, all I have is that we are getting ready to set up for the Scripps Ranch 4th of July parade with Congresswoman Jacobs, and then the Pride Parade on the 19th of July. And so, if any members of the Democratic Women's Club would like to be a part of either of those parade contingents with Sarah, you are more than welcome to. And I can have I make sure my info is in the email that goes out afterward. And please feel free to reach out to me if you think it'd be fun to be in the parade with Sarah. We'd love to have you.
Could you repeat the two parades, please? Did you say?
The 4th of July on Scripps in Scripps Ranch.
Okay.
This is going to be, I think, Sarah's 5th time going there. It's their 54th annual 4th of July parade. They've been doing it every year for a long time, and it's really nice. And then the Pride Parade in San Diego is on July 19th. There's been a little controversy this year over a headliner for the festival portion, and so not all of our elected officials are going to be participating, but as of now, Sarah is still doing it, and I think it's really important that we do, and we'd love to have you if you'd like to join us. Does
Okay.
Susan have a question? I see Susan waving her hand in the back of class.
Susan does.
Okay, so I would really appreciate it, Jackson, if when Sarah is on a podcast, you let us know. I heard a podcast recently where she talked about the tracking of on the apps.
Period apps, yeah.
Could you talk about that briefly?
Yeah, so that is one of the things that's most important to her, very personally, actually. She has already reintroduced, it's not going to happen this session because of the current control of the House, so hopefully this is something that we'll be able to get through in 26. You can look this up online. It is called the My Body, My Data Act, and the goal is to restrict personal like health apps that a lot of people use, the most prominent of which are period tracking apps, from selling data to basically anyone they want to. Because as it stands now, any of those apps that you use, if you have agreed to the privacy terms which are necessary to use them, then the companies that control those apps can use your data however they see fit. And in a world where a lot of people in political office seem to have a lot of designs on controlling reproductive health, it's something that is more of a threat now than I think a lot of people would have liked to think it would have been, a decade ago. So we're hoping we can get that passed in 26. It's something that Sarah will always talk about. Be warned if you ask her about it, because she will go full Hermione and talk for like 20 minutes about it. But it's really cool because she knows everything about that entire sort of slice of the tech ecosystem. And I encourage you to read that and learn about it, because it is both very important personally to her, but also to everybody.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming in and giving us an update on Representative Jacobs. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I wish I could be there in person. It's my first time in a while not being, and I miss the
We'll see you
booth there.
next time.
Yeah, thanks.
I will put all the information about the parades into the follow-up email, so everybody can have that information when they get their email on Wednesday. All right, I see Amber has joined us, and we're going to throw to Amber so we can do a mindfulness moment. We like to start off the meeting getting centered and getting our mind's in a good spot. So go ahead, Amber. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. I'm thankful for technology on nights like tonight when I can't drive up from Oceanside, but I'm still happy that we're able to share this moment together. So for this mindful moment today, you can either stand or sit towards the edge of your seat with your feet nice and flat, back nice and straight. We are going to take an acknowledgement as Juneteenth is this week, and as a Black woman myself and my ancestors celebrating this holiday before it was a federal holiday, we're going to keep our ancestors in mind during this mindful moment. So sitting at the edge of your seat with your feet flat or standing if you prefer. And then just start to roll the shoulders a little bit, loosening up, because being able to move our bodies is an act of freedom as well. Going the other way, releasing some of the tension from the day. Pause, give a little look to the right. Maybe down at that right shoulder a little, feel that stretch. Bring the gaze up and back to the middle, look over to the left. And then look down at that shoulder, feel that stretch there. Bring it back up into the middle. Now imagine your nose is a pencil and start drawing a small circle just to loosen the neck. And then each round, you can take that circle just a little bit bigger. If you start to experience pain, make the circle smaller. We should be pain-free through these motions. And then when you get to a pretty large circle, you can start to draw your circle back the other way as a big circle. Each time getting smaller and smaller. Bringing it back and through. Good. Then we're going to bring the shoulders up into the ears one more time. And let out an audible saw as it drops. Now we're going to take a deep breath and reach up to the sky, looking up and envisioning the biggest dream, something that our ancestors only dreamed of, reaching up for it, grabbing it, and you can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever feels good to you. Pull it down and bring it to your heart, placing your hands on your heart, embracing that dream for a moment, and then releasing those arms down. We're going to do that 2 more times, reaching up to the sky with a big breath. This time, climb a little like you're climbing a ladder, because your dreams, our dreams, are even bigger than the dreams that they dreamed of. And hold and bring it down to the heart. Once again, hold it there for a couple breaths. And then release those arms down completely. One more time, climbing up, envisioning the dream of the generation after us that's even bigger than anything we can dream, climbing even higher and saying to yourself or with me, I come from strength. Hold and bring it down to your heart. I move in freedom. Release the arms and close your eyes and breathe. I rise with purpose. I'll repeat that 2 more times. I come from strength.
I come from strength.
I move in freedom.
I move in freedom.
I rise with purpose.
I rise with purpose.
One more time, thank you. I come from strength.
I come from strength.
I move in freedom.
I move in freedom.
And I rise with purpose.
I rise with purpose.
On this day and every day, we reclaim our power, not just to remember, but to act, build, and dream forward. Thank you so much, everyone. And I look forward to the rest of our great meeting.
Thank you so much, Amber. Oh, that gets me a little teary. All right. So any other candidates come in tonight? How about elected officials? Would you like to speak? Any elected officials?
Good afternoon. My name is Delfina Gonzalez, and I am director at the Otay Water District in South San Diego, and the South area of San Diego. It's touching the border of the United States. And so I just had some good news. Recently, we are the only agency that sells water to Mexico in the whole nation. And we were detained from being able to do that for this year, for 2025. Due to what the policies that the federal government was doing to be able to prevent that. And this is a humanitarian effect of being able to have safe drinking water available. And I just have some good news that the EPA has now green lighted the opportunity to be able to do that this year. And that is something that it takes a village. You know, this is over 238,000 ratepayers, but it's important that our community knows of how water is life, and it's worth it. It's worth doing that advocacy. So I just wanted to give you guys the good news. Thank you.
Thank you. That is great news. And thank you for serving as an elected official, Delfina. We really appreciate you. All right. Anybody else before we move on? Mandy Havlick is on the Zoom. Let's spotlight Mandy.
Hi, yes. Did I make it for
Yes, you did. You just made it.
I just made it. Awesome. All right. Well, hold on a second. I just came from another meeting as well. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for being here tonight. Again, this is Mandy Havlick, and I'm running for City Council for San Diego in District 2. I'm a mom, a military spouse, and an Indigenous woman, and a proud Democrat. I've spent years working on behalf of this community, advocating for traffic safety, protecting our coastline, and supporting sustainable, responsible growth as first vice chair of the Peninsula Community Planning Board. I'm running because we need community-centered leadership. I want to represent you, not special interests. I know what it means to be unheard and unseen, and I'm committed to listening and showing up and fighting for the people of District 2. I'd love for you all to join me. I'm having another campaign event on Sunday, June 29th from 3 to 6 p.m. at a beautiful home overlooking La Playa in Point Loma. It'll be an inspiring afternoon of connection and purpose, and I'd love to get to know you better so that we can build a stronger and more inclusive and community-powered District 2 together. Thank you all for being here tonight. You can check out my website, mandyhavlick.com, to find out more about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you for running for office. We appreciate you. And I will have all the information about your website in the follow-up email that will come on Wednesday. All right, we are going to move on to our program. We have the folks from Doors of Change here with us tonight, and they've been fighting and solving youth homelessness here in San Diego. And so I'd like to introduce Annie. She's going to come up and present.
Thank you all so much for having me. I'm also going to invite Jeffrey Sitcom, the founder and president of Doors of Change, with us. If you don't mind, we're going to start with that video. So whenever you are ready, and then we'll come up after.
I was homeless because originally I ran away when I was 12 because my stepfather was abusing me, and I was afraid that the abuse would continue to escalate as it was, and I just figured it might be best for me to leave that environment.
I was homeless because my mom was addicted to drugs. She would spend our money, or she wouldn't make any money. She would spend it on narcotics, so we lost our apartment.
I was homeless because my mom was going through a lot of mental challenges. She decided to move to Texas when I was 16. I was still in high school. I had no idea what to do. So I had a car, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna thug it out in my car and do my best.
I was homeless because I was facing physical and sexual violence at home. My father had been abusing me for years. I just didn't feel like I was safe, and it was better for me to leave rather than do anything that I would end up regretting later.
The Homeless Youth Advocacy Program came out of COVID. because we had to shut down our award-winning music and art program of 18 years. We had to think out of the box of what we can do to reach these youth during this pandemic. And so we started doubling the amount of outreach workers that went on the streets to find the youth. We started putting up posters that actually listed what we do, what they can get help with, and our telephone number and Facebook page. And the youth started calling by the droves.
Outreach certainly is the initial key part of our program, but certainly the case managers and communicating with them is critical, because especially if we're in an outreach moment where youth is willing to sit down and call the case manager, it's important they pick up the phone. We have small windows of opportunities. So we have 2 case managers that are very committed and very aware of their phone, and when a call comes in, they answer.
Doors of Change is different than other organizations, I think, in the fact that they're very hands-on, they're very active, they're very caring. I think, you know, it's very obvious that they love what they do and they do it for the purpose of helping people. It's not just another paycheck, it's not just another job. It's very wholehearted, and us, you know, like the people they're helping, we feel that. I feel that.
Our success with placement and housing is we address the mental illness first. Because honestly, if you get them good mental health, get them to admit they need mental health, and support them, they will find good jobs and they'll keep the jobs. They will stay in the housing that we provide for them.
In 2022, we were able to house 349 youth, which was a record-breaking 188 more than the previous year.
The donors have the most power to help these kids because it all comes down to money. Without the money, we can't provide these resources. These kids need case managers. They need people that are going to help them put their lives back together.
If you're a donor and you're looking to help an organization, Doors of Change is the place to go, because they are active. They say and do as they say they are going to do. They genuinely work from the heart. And to give your money to people who are working with the youth and they're doing it because they love to help people, that's the world I want to live in.
The success stories make me smile, because I think of the youth when they were when I first met them and where they are now, sometimes 20 years later.
This is right when I was getting on my feet and turning 18 and starting to succeed. Yeah, this is a cool feeling. It's 18 years ago, and where I'm at now.
Doors of Change has helped me really just kind of get my life on track. You know, the other organization helped me get housed, but that's kind of where it ended. Doors of Change really put their best foot forward and was like, this is what's next. What are your goals? You know, where are you trying to head? And they've been pushing me on that same track and making sure that I stay on that track.
We're small and we're grassroots, and frankly, that's what attracts me to Doors of Change. We don't have sort of a bureaucracy to go through. We can respond quickly and urgently, and that to me is part of the success. And I love the smallness, because we're small and mighty.
Love is one word to describe Doors of Change.
Good evening. I love being in a democratic organization. This is wonderful. Who's got children? Raise your hand. Okay, 90% of you. Can you imagine having your kids and having all the issues that when they were growing up and they had you to be with them? Can you imagine what it would be like having no one? No parents, no functional parents. What it would be like? That's what these youth are dealing with. Let me first share with you why these youth are homeless. That's the #1 question I've gotten in 24 years of doing this. Any idea why the youth are homeless? Just give me some ideas. Yes? 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 60% of the 4.2 million youth that are homeless in America today, 4.2 million between 17 and 24, the transitional age kids, we call them, K kids. They're the most underserved of the homeless population of any homeless age. The vets, the families, adults, etc. the most underserved. However, if you give them a hand up, a little hand up, not a hand up, but a hand up, they have the highest rate of breaking the cycle of homelessness of any age group. Do you know why? They're young. What else? Moldable, yes. Yes. You're all right. They haven't been on the street that long, that they're not that emotionally or mentally ill or addiction of such a high level they can actually break out of the cycle if they trust you. And we're experts at building trust quickly. In 24 years, well, let's just say in the last 4 years, we've housed 966 youth in San Diego in 4 years. In the last 24 years, over 2,900 youth we've placed in housing because our community got it, they trusted us, and they let us do what we need to do to get these kids an opportunity to have a better life. There's a lot of organizations out there. Over 10,000 nonprofits in San Diego. You know, who do you trust and who do you help and support? To me, it begins with the youth because the youth are the future. And I was a physical therapist for 18 years and I kept seeing the violence. And I kept saying, these kids are going in the wrong direction. This is 24 years ago. So to empower these youth to make better choices for themselves, teach them how to fish, give them the opportunity, the resources to succeed. And when they trust you, they will do everything to help themselves. And so I usually won't say this but because of the political environment right now, 40% of the youth we deal with are LGBTQ plus kids. And they come out and within an hour, their parents throw them on the streets. I was disgusted 24 years ago, and I'm as disgusted today. So you're talking over 2 million youth in this country are on the streets because and they get thrown out by their families. And today, they need help more than ever because of the political situation and how they're degraded even more. And they found our organization as being a safe respite. They know they can trust us. And that's why half of our youth, 50%, not 40 nationally percent, 50% are LGBTQ kids. And we help them because we don't judge them. We accept them for who they are. We love everybody, but accept them for who they are. Don't judge them because you don't know what's going on in their life. But if you give that space, they keep coming to you. And then they ask for help. And mental illness is a huge deal about this because so many of these kids, you know, on the streets, they have tremendous trauma. A lot of kids have a lot of trauma in their home before they were on the streets. But 24 years ago, I never heard, I want to get help, you know, with mental health. No one talked about it for years. But now, they now say, you know, can I get some help with my mental situation? Can I get evaluated or whatever? Because they trust our case managers, they will come forth and ask and also accept their suggestion. So it's very important. I'm not going to do a huge amount of talking today because I want to leave a lot of time for questions because there's always great questions. Let me see if I've forgotten any big things. The Homeless Youth Advocacy Program, we pivoted during COVID because we had an award-winning music and art program for 18 years. We saw 8,100 kids in that program. It was phenomenal, but we had to close with COVID. And so we had to think out of the box. These kids need our help. What can we do to still help them? So we turn it around and we started the Homeless Youth Advocacy Program because we're really advocates for these kids. We're their surrogate parents, basically. And so we've now tripled the amount of youth housing in the last 4 or 5 years than we did before that. So obviously what we're doing is working. We need more help, more money, more support to be able to help more kids because they need the help more than ever. But we found that if you give them that help, we've had such tremendous success stories, and we'll continue to do that. We do have an event once a year, and you know, one of the things that people say is, okay, I never knew the severity of the situation. I want to help. What can I do? There's many ways to help us. the first thing obviously is money. Because if we don't have money, how can we hire case managers, program directors, or whatever? And especially since we're getting cut. The supervisors gave us money up until the last year or so. We get very little money. I mean, how can you not get money from supervisors when you're helping youth in our community? We'll go out of business. So we need the community to say, you know something? We'll give you a little hand up. We trademarked the name Angel Team. The California Angels gave us permission. Our attorney almost fell off his chair. He said, I've never in 30 years ever seen actually someone say, okay, you can use the name. But they did it because it had to do with youth homelessness. And so for $11 a month, anybody can usually afford $11 a month. Join the Angel Team. Some people give us $100, some give us $50, but anybody usually can give $11 a month, even students. And so the more people that join our Angel Team, the more kids we can get help. So making a donation, yes.
So to be able to explain exactly what services, I am homeless, what can you offer me?
That's a great question. Number one, we ask for permission to assess each youth. If they don't give us permission, we can't help them. But if they give us permission to assess them, then we can find out all the things. We ask them many, many questions, and we put it in the HMIS system. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a county-wide system that everybody that's in this field inputs the situation, their data into the HMIS. So you need mental health, we'll get you a mental health expert. You have domestic violence issues, we'll get you a specialist with domestic violence. If you need health insurance, which you all do, we get a Medicaid, okay? If you need IDs, if you need to know, I want to get a job, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, okay? So you teach them resume writing. You actually go out and get the clothes for them and show them what to do. We're their parents. Did they answer your question?
Michigan?
Yeah.
I come from Michigan. I'm homeless. I am undecided in sexual orientation. That's why I was kicked out. And I came with no birth certificate, no ID, and I've been living in the streets.
No problem. No
I've been
problem.
living in the streets for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, here's the
turned 18.
Sure.
So what would you have?
Well, number one, we only help people that live in this area. They come from all of the United States to live here. But if you're living in this area, if you're 17 to 24, no matter what your situation is, we'll help you for free. Okay? And so with that situation, we'll hook you up with our case manager who will do the evaluation and then assess what you need and say, you might need this, you might need this, you might need this. What would you like? And we'll get them whatever they need. They have to help themselves. They have to want to help themselves. If they don't want to help themselves, we can't help them. But if they say, I need I want to get health insurance, we'll actually take them to the place where they get Medi-Cal.
But you have no idea. I have no ID.
Doesn't matter. We'll get you the ID. Okay? We'll get whatever they need. We hand walk them. We do in-depth case management, not just, do this. We actually participate with them, and that's why we get the results we get. Because you have to do hand-holding a lot of times because these kids don't know what they're doing. Why would they? They haven't been taught by anybody. Does that answer your question? Great. Good question.
So I have a question. For that scenario, would there be a place for them to sleep safely?
That's a great question too. We are blessed that we have 117 partnerships in town now with different organizations. During COVID, we expanded tremendously. We used to have housing ourselves, but it became so cost ineffective that it cost $40,000 per year per youth with 6 kids in one house. We said, this isn't going to work. We got to help more kids in this. So what we do is we farm them out to organizations that have 20 beds, 30 beds, 5 beds, and so we have several partnerships that have, let's say, 150 beds in the community. We call them up and say, Doors of Change. When they get a call from Doors of Change, they know that the referral is an appropriate referral, which means that if they have domestic violence, we send them to a domestic violence situation. If they have mental illness, we send them to mental illness. So when they get a call from us, they know, listen, this is a very good call, because it's usually the youth are going to stick. They're going to stay. The worst thing is getting an inappropriate referral and, oh, this isn't the place for them, and then they leave. It hurts everybody. Does that make sense? And so we, now I'm not saying we're getting something to stay overnight quickly. Sometimes it might take 2 weeks. Sometimes it might, but that's a lot better than 3 months. And it just depends on what the situation is. But we will get them in quicker than almost anyone because of our reputation. They know that it's an appropriate referral, and that's why we get them in quicker. Great question. Yes.
Dealing with right now.
In the last 3 years, and I highly recommend everybody, Annie, can you give everybody one of these? This is an impact report. We're very proud of this. We've never had this before in 24 years. We have an impact report that shows the last 3 years alone. We saw 1,750 youth in the last 3 years alone. And it will show you on this second page in the very front, these are the results. So you'll be able to see we housed 805 youth in 3 years. We saw 1,750 about kids, and so you'll be able to see what the results of our organization are and who we treat, et cetera. Does that help? Yes, ma'am.
Do you still have your arts and music program?
I hate to say we don't right now. We haven't for the last 5 years because of COVID and the results of COVID. We had like a 2-3 year period that we couldn't have the youth come together because they would get sick from each other. They have very bad immune systems. Obviously, they're on the streets. They don't eat properly, et cetera. And the youth also kind of, instead of being in pockets, which we did for many years, we saw pockets of kids. With COVID, they spread out because they didn't want to die. Because if they caught COVID, some of these kids can die because they're so, compromised as it is. So because of that, no, we don't have our music in our program now. Within 2 years, God willing, we hope to bring it back. But what do we need? We need money to bring it back. But once we do, we got it. We know what we're doing. We've seen 8,000 kids in the program.
Am I understanding you correctly to say that you get the majority of your funding through the Board of Supervisors, the county?
Not at all. No, we get the majority of our funds. This past year, we got $350,000 in grants. We received money from the community, probably the majority of it. We have a concert once a year, a big concert. And so we net between $100,000 to $150,000 just from that concert alone. That's just one of the things we do. This year, if anybody like the Rolling Stones? Okay. So our age group, and they've been around a long time. They have it's a UCSD on September 6th, and anybody for $44 can get a lawn seat, $64 can get a regular seat. 100% of the money goes to get homeless kids off the streets. We've raised enough money to underwrite the whole concert. So every ticket, literally 100%, goes to get kids off the streets by our program. It's a lot of fun. To me, the biggest thing of this whole thing, we've done BB King, we did Los Lobos, Three Dog Night, Ben Harper, Casey and the Sunshine Band last year. They're all great concerts. But to me, the key is listening to the youth speak, because you'll have an opportunity. If you go to our VIP party, you'll hear 2 kids speak, and our big concert, you'll have at least 1 or 2 kids who will speak at it. When you hear their stories, they're amazing. So great questions. What other questions do you have? These are wonderful questions. Yes.
How do the kids find you?
That's a great question too. Let's say pre-COVID, we went on outreach 4 nights a week for 20 years, literally on the streets searching for kids. Since COVID, the kids have disappeared. They're there, but they're hidden. Why are they hidden? Number one, they're afraid that the police are going to get them, because if the hot team comes out and finds them, they fine them $250. Well, who can afford $250 fine if you're homeless? The second time they find you, they take your clothes away. So these kids have done whatever they can to hide. And so because of that, we put up the posters like you saw on the video. We put them all over the city, and the kids read about it and they, oh, okay. And they call us. With our 117 partnerships, we get so many referrals from our partnerships because they know our reputation and that when they send someone to Doors of Change, they're going to get results. And so we get tons of referrals from that. Also, word of mouth from the youth. When they get help from us, they tell their kids on the streets, go to Doors of Change, they will help you. So does that answer your question? Okay, great.
The question is, why does the hot team take their clothes?
Ask the police. I have no idea. But all I know is that they freak out when they know their possessions are everything. And if they take their possessions away, which they do the second time they're caught, that's why they spread out and they hide so that they can't be found. I don't know what the reason is. It's crazy. Good. You know, these are wonderful questions. Yeah.
Just one other thing that I want to say in the pivot from the music and arts program to our case management program. One thing that differentiates us from other organizations is we are 24/7. So a youth can call us on a Friday night. They can call us on Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving. Other organizations, they work typical business hours and then you'll get a call back. And one of the ways that we instill that trust with these youth, or we answer our calls at all times, because timing is everything. This may be their only opportunity before their phone dies, before they're away from their domestic violence partner, whatever it is. So the two questions that our case managers always start with on the phone is, what's your phone battery life and are you in a safe place? That's also, I think, something that just really differentiates us and starts that trust, because we are that first line of communication to newly unhoused youth. So again, just hitting that point of, they could be on the streets for a few weeks, or they could be couch surfing, or they can be living out of their cars, because a lot of the youth feel like it's safer if they're lucky to have a car, that it's safer, sleeping alone or sleeping in their car versus in a shelter, being separated from their only friends or their partner. So another pillar, I believe it was the lady in the green who asked, what are our services? We also help with automotive services. A lot of these youth are charging their phones, which is killing their battery, or I know when my tire goes out, that's a big dig into my paycheck. And if you don't have a working car and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you lose your job and you're back on the streets. So we do the mental health, we do meaningful employment opportunities and assistance, and then the automotive issues, as well as permanent and safe housing.
Those are excellent points. We keep expanding because it doesn't matter what we want. What do they want? And so whatever they want, we try and say, okay, we've seen a lot of youth with car issues. We just came up this a year and a half ago and said, we're the only one that is actually fixing cars. Automotives, the battery doesn't work, you replace the tires. It's listening to what the youth need and then providing that service with them, because we want them to succeed, and it's about gaining trust. Yeah.
Do you
Great.
have connections with any of the safe sleep parking lots?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's not that many around, but whatever, yes. Our case managers are exceptional. These youth can read right through you. Think about it. They're on survival mode their whole time that they're on the streets. If not, they're in bad shape. So they're on survival mode. They can read someone after a short period of time. And thank God we have such an amazing staff that are just loving with empathy, and we follow through with our word quickly. And that's the key.
When a newly unhoused youth, if they call 211, they will actually send them and refer them to Doors of Change. So that's been a huge accomplishment for us, that we are all in support of, if you are newly unhoused, please contact Doors of Change. And that's where we said, we don't have the food bank, we don't have the shelters, but we partner with 17 or 18 organizations throughout, where we truly work as a team. We provide the support, we provide the figuring out what's next until you get to that permanent housing.
Is there a hard age deadline limit that you will not?
The age limit is 17 to 24. That's traditional age youth throughout the United States. All I can say is one thing. Yes, please. No, please, you're first.
my biggest question is that, so just to tell you a little bit of my backstory of why I have this experience, that I was running for city council in the 5th largest city in the state of California. So it's a very big city. And they always showed they had this homeless encampment that they were able to house. And so we had a forum with the other candidates for city council. So again, we're representing over 50,000 people. So it's a big deal. And outside this library, there was a young man that was just turned 18, an older man, and two older women. And I right away shook their hands. I invited them to come inside. It's like, you guys live here. Even if you're living at the library roof, you're still living in our city. And so the young man is the only one that came inside. And so he then later told me he had come in from Michigan. And I said, okay, well, the city's taunting this program. Let's get you that help. And I walked him through the process of how many potholes that the process did not exist for him. The police came, they kicked him out of the library area. Like they just said, you can't stay here. Well, they had over, I believe they have 100 little tiny homes and only 18 inhabited. So their system was broken. They were just taunting it without using the services that they had. And it was police run. So that's another part that I love what you're talking about. So this man had no license, no birth certificate, no ID, nothing. And so I go to this other very big agency that I knew they were actually building a 7-story building with the monies that they're getting from the state. And I said, okay, here's this youth. He's 18. I release him. You take care of him. And they're like, we don't know what we're going to do with him. Like, no idea. And I said, well, he needs the help. So to give you guys a long story short, I took him to another agency to get the ID. I took him to another agency and I walked him. I paid for his haircut. I paid for his clothing. I paid for the hotel. I did the follow through, realizing that this young man now has housing. He now has a job, but because of the neglect that our nation is going through, that this isn't just something that's happening here, it's happening in our nation. Our parents are not doing their job and raising their children the right way. He had not gone to school. He had, like literally he had broken his femur they had broken his femur at 6 months of age. Imagine, and he lived underneath his staircase. So he was very pale and he was maybe 100 pounds underweight. So a very big abuse. So what I'm trying to say at the end of the story is that how can we, because I'm passionate about being a voice and I'm passionate about helping. And I know there's so many leaders here that can help you.
I know
grow
exactly
what you're doing.
And this is this is perfect. The biggest thing I've learned in 24 years is people have no clue about the homeless situation at this level with youth. They know about the vets, they know about the family, but the youth, have you really ever heard of homeless kids up until we started 24 years ago getting the word out? How you can help the most is join our board. We're expanding our board right now because we have to help more kids. We see what we're doing is so effective. We need more money to get more case managers, more program directors, and more kids off the streets because we have this one shot. Once they're 25, 27, 30, it's over. I mean, 1 out of 300, 500, the percentage of the help gets a lot worse and worse the older they get of getting off the streets. So we are expanding our board. So people say, I'm asking you to do one thing, do something. You can make a donation. You can go to our concert. You can be a board member, okay? You can be a volunteer. You can give clothes, but something, if you're touched by this, if you don't act on it, it doesn't mean a damn bit good. Doesn't matter how touched you are unless you act on it. And so come to the concert, have fun. You dance for 2.5 hours and you'll help these kids. You'll hear them speak. You're like, whoa, this is real. We need board members because we want to double the board because we need to double the amount of kids we're going to help.
To piggyback what Jeffrey's saying, we as a staff, we're small, 7, 6 full-time, 2 part-time, and we have incredible case managers who, I think we all work for pennies and nickels to be able to do that we do because the work's important. But our case manager, we have 68 youth right now between 2 case managers. So our biggest fear is not going out of business. Our biggest fear is we're going to tap out the employees before we're at the point where we need to grow. In order to do that with any other business, like it truly is just the funding and the money. And yes, it may not all be federally reliant on grants and funding that way, but the people who are being federally funded or cut federal funds we're going after the same people at this point. So, nonprofits are in trouble right now. And that's where we need community members to step up and help and just help spread the awareness and help join a board, do whatever you can to get involved or whatever your strengths are. But to piggyback.
These are wonderful questions. Yes, do you have a question? Sure. Thank you.
How diverse is your caseload and how diverse are the case managers?
Well, I think extremely diverse as far as the kids on the streets. You see everything. You see Latinos, whites, blacks. You see everything. As far as our caseload, our staff, they're very diversified, and they're proud of LGBTQ members, so they can relate because they have family members, etc. themselves. They can relate to anybody on the streets because of the prosecution that family and friends have gone through, and these kids that they deal with, they relate to very, very good. But we have diversity. It's just, who's ever there. It doesn't matter the race, their creed, nothing matters other than they're 17 to 24, they're homeless. We will help anybody that needs help and wants help. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, there are. So from 12 to 17, the storefront shelter is the only shelter in San Diego. There's only one. And we were their largest private donor for 10 years. I know it very well. And so they're a fantastic organization from 12 to 17. I kept seeing the 18, 20, 22-year-olds that on the streets, and no one was helping them 24 years ago. No one. And I said, I don't give a damn if it's not the pretty thing to do. We're doing what is the right thing to do in my mind, is help the youth that no one's helping. So we were one of the first ones to help the 17 to 24-year-olds 24 years ago. Yeah.
All right, we're going to have that be our last question. We thank you so much for joining us. All right.
Doorsofchange.org. Feel free to give us a call if you want to talk about the board, get your tickets to the concert, be an Angel team member, or help us get these kids a better life. And we appreciate so much your time and your efforts.
I would like to make a motion to the club that we donate $300 to Door of Change. Doors of Change.
All right, it has been motioned and seconded that we donate $300 to Doors of Change. Susan, as the maker of the motion, would you like to speak?
No, I discussed this with Beatrice a few minutes ago, so it's been cleared with our treasurer. I think this is a worthy organization. I've been Googling them and looking at different things while he's been presenting. So I believe it is worthy of our support.
All right, we're going to have a vote with just club members only, please. All in favor of donating $300 to Doors of Change, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is unanimous. We will be donating $300 to your worthy organization. Thank you.
I'm not sure. The community says, I want to help these kids out.
He's passing around some materials people can take to their businesses for those of you on Zoom. All right. We have more on the topic of homelessness. We have Ellen Nash here. She's the BAPAC chair, and she's going to talk about homelessness and the Black community. So please welcome Ellen Nash.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. John, do you have the? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Hello, everyone. My name is Ellen Nash, and most of you know me, of course. I serve as the chair of the Black American Policy Association Foundation. And before you all leave, I want to make a statement, a very important statement. Something the biggest piece the takeaway I have, I just want to be sure I got it straight. You said that these kids are hiding because the police are charging them $250 for what?
For being on the streets.
For being on the streets. That's the biggest piece that, as an advocacy organization, we need to take that on. There's no way they should be charging our babies $250 because they are on the street. That's the piece, and that we need. The biggest takeaway, I believe, that the Democratic Women's Club, BAPAC, we need to advocate. We need to put together a resolution to go after whoever that system is designed that's charging our kids $250 to be on the street. It is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's the key piece that was missing. And we need to connect the dots. The dots, there's a system that's in place that we pay as taxpayers to take care of our children. And the system has failed our kids. So that's the biggest piece that we need to consider taking on, as the system itself has failed our kids. And because parents have put them out, schools have put them out, there's a trigger that needs to take place when the kids hit the streets. They shouldn't go 3 months to 2 years to 17 to 24. They have been in somebody's care before they were 17, right? They were in the family, they were in school, there was something, they were being taken care of, but something triggers them. And in a life event, most of it, of course, is around sexual orientation. Also, kids are rebellious, but there's some kind of a safety net that needs to be created to take care of those kids and catch them before they hit the streets, before they have to come to you. There has to be a connection. And the police officers are charging them $250. That means they know where those kids are, right? It's the connection should not be charging them $250. The connection should be taking the kids to doors of change. That's what the police need to be doing. They need to have relationships, not only police, but the system itself, relationships with the providers to catch these kids. Obviously, they know where they are because they charge them $250. Exactly. So that was the biggest takeaway that I see that we need to capture is the system needs to be changed to take care of those kids and bring them to you, not charge them $250, but bring them to you, bring them to us so we can take care of them, right? That's $250 that could be used somewhere else. So that
ever in 24 years, Justine, a cop took her to storefront. And because of that, she's now just finished law school, got her law degree. She would have probably died before that because she was on suicide watch for 6 months. But the cop said, you know something, I know could have rushed you, but you know something, I'm going to take you to the storefront. And he did. And that one thing took her to a provider that can help her is what really saved her life with Doors of Change, that she's now finished law school.
awesome. And that's what we would expect from the homeless outreach team, not a fine and taking their clothes. Exactly. This is near and dear to my heart. Young people, we need to take care of our babies. We need to take care of our children. That is the most important piece the takeaway. Doors of Change, thank you for the work you're doing. We would like to collaborate with you. Please leave your card next to right there. I'm sitting next to you. That's why I probably came over and sat next to you so I can get your card. So we can take care of kids. Yeah, let's give them one more. While he's doing that, let me just tell you a story. My presentation is very short, short and simple. Do you have, oh yes, you do. So let me
this report, and I hope we can email it out to everyone, is a report that the Regional Task Force for the Homeless put together on Black homelessness here in San Diego. And overall, the report is going to reflect homelessness. They're already on the streets. So we're talking about, in terms of Black homelessness, we only make up 5% of the population, I think, probably less than that now. But we make up between 35 and 40% of homelessness in San Diego. And it's growing by leaps and bounds because of life events. So BAPAC, we took on homeless prevention. And it came about by an accident. We had a board member, started with a board member who had a family who had been burned out of their home. And as a result of that, the family was brought to BAPAC, brought up in our board meeting, and we discovered that the family was living in a hotel. So they were using their disposable income every week, paying something like, I think it was $300 or $400 a week in a hotel. They had, there's a husband, 2 disabled parents, with a daughter that was in her last year at Tennessee State University, and their daughter was attending a high school that was attending Helix, and they were sheltered, but they were paying for their shelter with this $350 a week in hotel. And so we took it on. We took the family on because we wanted the family to find shelter, right? So to make a long story short, is you had to make a long story short, it took us 6 months to figure out the system. We didn't know anything. We didn't know about no 211. We didn't know about housing commission. We didn't know anything. We just knew that we wanted to ensure that this family stayed sheltered. And 6 months basically took on the system. Doors closed in our face because they were living on Social Security, so they had an income. So that was a challenge to the system. And as a result of that, it took us 6 months. We finally figured out things. At that time, I was serving as chair of the Human Relations Commission for the San Diego County. So I was developing relationships with all of the leaders at the county, from the Helen, from the CEO, to all of her leadership staff, to Summer Stephan, the district attorney, was there, and Kelly Martinez, the sheriff, was on the commission. So I started kind of developing relationships with them, knowing about this family that was in the back. It was in the back of my mind. So I started just sharing their story with them. And that's kind of how we figured out the system. 6 months, they were paying, they were not going on the streets. But what I saw in 6 months was family members, because they were determined not to go on the streets. I saw the mental health started happening. They were not sleeping at night. They were not eating well. You could see the downhill that was happening to them mentally. And because they were fighting to stay sheltered, the mother particularly, I am not going on the streets with my babies. My daughter, she was going back to Texas State University. We ended up she needed $10,000. We raised the $10,000 airfare to get her back to Texas State University because she was majoring in social work. She only had that 1 year left. We raised the money to get her back there. And I had one of for sororities, Panhellenic Council leader that, went to the sororities and fraternities and raised money to help this child because they were already connected with the Texas State University, some of the alumni. So we got her taken care of. We figured out how to get gift cards for the teenager that was attending Helix High School. I think she graduated this year, and she's going to Texas State University. There was a connection because the daughters were connected to a marching band community program. So that's how they stayed connected on this trajectory to college, because of mom, who couldn't have a lot of money, but she kept them in this marching Heartbeat Academy program. So that's how they stayed connected. So that's how we were able to to keep this, keep it going. And from that experience, then it led to COVID. And we have a Facebook page called Black San Diego. And we noticed people were reaching out to Black San Diego for help. Help, I'm in a domestic violence situation. Help, I just lost my job. I'm 3 or 4 months behind on my rent. Help, I'm having health challenges that ended up in the hospital. And I lost my job for that reason. Just life events can trigger going on the streets. And so because of the relationships I had built with the county leaderships in the city, and you know me, I'm all over. I arranged with the Black San Diego young ladies, and look, don't post these individual situation on Facebook. It's embarrassing, it's humiliating. Just send them to me. And I took my little cell phone that I have, and because of the relationships I had with the leaders at the county, the city, other nonprofits, they started forwarding those individuals via my little text phone to the individuals. I just wanted their name and their phone number and their situation. I didn't want any more information because I didn't want to get into a privacy issue because I'm not a professional, right? So I would refer them via text, via email, leaders, help. These people need help. Whatever you can do. Domestic violence situations, I knew to refer them to District Attorney Summer Steffen. One young lady reached out, cried out for help. She was in a domestic violence situation with a 4-month-old baby. And I referred her to Summer. She put her in a hotel. Then she put her in temporary housing. Then she put her in permanent housing. She got her daughter into a CNA, the young ladies in a CNA program, and she put the baby in a daycare. A handout, just a handout. And sometimes that's all I do. Very simple presentation. We're up to about 200 people, which represents families. So I launched BAPAC, we launched a homeless summit. Maybe some of you were there. We had tons of nonprofits. I think it's probably like 75 nonprofits in the room. The Regional Task Force for the Homeless was in the room, Tamara Kohler. And she heard my story and she heard what I was doing in the homeless prevention space. The theme is Stop the Bleeding. And how we stop the bleeding is by catching them before they hit the streets, and we address their situations to stop the bleeding, because we don't want to continue this homeless scenario of our numbers even getting larger and larger. Oh, you need a mic because we're online.
You're going to love this. The San Diego Foundation just chose Doors of Change and Urban League to partner together now for the next 3 more years, and to go into high schools and colleges and offer trade school and college for free for any homeless youth in our community. And we just started that 2 months ago.
Great. That's what this is about, connecting. It is about relationships and connecting with people. And so we were awarded a grant by the Regional Task Force for the Homeless and the homeless prevention space. And then the county also recently awarded us a grant. And the reason why is because we took what I was doing because that's what I do. I was raised in the church, first of all. And so a lot of what I do comes from my church background. And in the church, we had what we called the mission department. The mission department is where we took up this little benevolence offering. You probably, if you were raised in the church, remember that. And we would help our members with their rent, if they needed food, that whole thing. So I decided that I was going to take what I'm doing via text, and we have now launched a faith-based piece of this, working with 9 churches. Black churches. And we've assigned a community navigator to each of those churches who will do what I'm doing. because Black people go to church. They go to church, they sit on the pews, they may be hurting and suffering, young people, the age group you're talking about, suffering, and they don't know where to go. They go to church, and maybe someone in the church membership kind of knows what's going on in the family. The pastor probably knows, but aren't, pastors, they have so much weight on them now, they have no resources. They don't know where to go. So what we've arranged with this grant that the Regional Task Force Homeless have provided is we've assigned 9 navigators to each of those churches. And the members will go to that navigator under the radar. We don't like people to know our business, under the radar, and we will catch them and take them to the system like I'm doing to help them stay off the streets in the homeless prevention space. So what you see here is the data that John just put up. It's about homelessness. Because of BAPAC's capacity, we can't deal with homelessness. I'm sorry, we don't have the resources. But what we can do is deal with the homeless prevention, keeping people in their homes. And they come to us for your life events. Now we're learning also that there are re-entry under Proposition 47 that we all voted on, where it was only going to allow the release of low offenders. Remember that program? We voted for it. That program is a voluntary program now. So if you're released from incarceration, you have 2 options. And it's voluntary. You can go back to the streets or you can go into a sober living facility. Most folks go back to the streets. Now we have Proposition 36. It's going to catch those people that have decided to go back to the streets because they have to go. They're now robbing stores to survive, right? So what we're doing is we're working with the Proposition 47 program. Again, incarceration, you are sheltered, right? You got housing, you got food. But when they come out, we want to catch them, again, prevent them from becoming homeless by working with the system to get them into the program. So what we're doing in that particular piece is another faith-based approach, is that we have ministers that go into the prisons already, called the prison ministry. And we're going to also train them. I have one pastor now that I'm training to apply the same approach that I apply for someone who's about ready to be homeless, the homeless prevention. We're training them to go in and prepare those individuals that are incarcerated, that look, when you come out of incarceration, we're going to be here to catch you. So it's a preparation, pre-preparation before they're released. That's why people are because it's voluntary, they're going back to the streets because there's never been any early intervention or any early preparation for them to prepare them to come out of incarceration into these wonderful resources and opportunities that are available. So that's the simple approach that we're taking to catch people. We're up to 200 families. We probably will see more because people don't know. The bottom line is people don't know. Our young people, they have no clue of where to go when they are on the verge of homelessness. And if we can catch them before they hit the streets, we could stop the bleeding. I want to open it up to questions. I don't have a lot of information other than that's what we're doing. Susan?
Hi, Ellen. Hi. So Pillars of Change, do you have a connection with them? Because they work with the formerly incarcerated. Are you familiar with them? Was it Khalid Alexander, John? Yeah.
Pillars of who?
Pillars of Change. It's off of where did Monica have her office? Was it Imperial? They're they're
Pillars of the Community? Well, Paul
Pillars of the Community. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
yes, I know. We
I said
we
it
have
the
a
wrong way.
relationship with them.
Okay, so
Definitely.
you have a connection with
Yes.
them? Okay.
We haven't really got into it, but we are going to be pursuing a fundraising piece of this, is because what we're seeing is once that we receive the status of where the individuals or the family is, our system is very slow. So by the time they come to us and then we take them through the system, there's a gap. And the gap may be a gift card to pay their rent for a month or two. It may be clothes, it may be food. So there's that gap that we want to fill, again, to avoid hitting the streets, but the system has to catch up as well. So that's what we see as a gap right now. So that's what we're going to be looking for in terms of fundraising. But the biggest piece that that we're looking for is just what Susan just did. We need to continue connecting with community organizations that do the work, because the system is really designed. It has the resources available. It's just people just don't know how to tap into them in order to address their issues.
Wonderful to have you as our 118th partner, because we refer to you, you refer to us. When you have a take kid, refer them to Doors of Change. If we see a family in need, we'll refer to you. We also help, by the way, kids that are one step from being on the street. So we actually work with not only homeless, but disadvantaged youth that are basically couch surfing, living in their cars. We will work with them also.
Any other questions or comments?
So I just wanted to suggest something that I saw this. So not only is life experience so important, and that's why I ran for office, because I see that there wasn't enough representation, but I honestly, I'm a mother of a child that has Down syndrome. She's 30 years young. And I was also taking care of my mother who was on dialysis, and I didn't know about the county services like IHSS and all the things that help with the caregiving of parents that are disabled, or that they have Alzheimer's or dementia that is happening, or the diabetes, and then autistic children that they're having to take care of. And having to hear that call, come and pick up your son, your job can only give you so much grace. And so I noticed there's that gap. And if there's any way, like myself, Berta, myself, if we can be able to support those families, because helping them walk through the system and showing them that it is possible, that there are these services. And I didn't know about this until my daughter was 25. I lost my mom, I lost my job, and I lost my house. I was almost homeless because I didn't know about this programs that the county offers. And this is why it's so important to work as a team. So I just wanted to offer that too.
Any other comments? Hang on, Pat.
Yeah. Always told it. Cool. So, for the three of you, a homeless person, I was contacted informally one time about a homeless 23-year-old with a 3-year-old child. Could you just address that a little bit?
We work with families, mostly single parents with their children, but we've placed many of them.
Is there a threat of CPS taking the child away from the parent because of that?
It depends on if the parent is abusive. If the parent is not abusive, they're a loving parent, then we'll do whatever we can to support them. If it's abusive, then the CPS, yes.
So homelessness in and of itself is not a reason to remove a child from a parent. Got it. No, I just wanted to make a comment about homelessness and single parents, but homelessness and families in general. The system is in place to keep them together unless they, of course, discover abuse. But also the catch is the advocacy on the part of that family, because the longer they remain homeless, then things spiral out of control, and then CPS comes into the picture. So if we can catch them quicker, we can then, keep those families together. Yeah, I've seen that. I've had to, in this space, I'm learning a lot. And some of it's just by accident. In our passion is, I had one family who
yeah, the county worker, there was a report, county worker was getting ready to intervene, and I intervened and said, wait a minute, this is not the case. You know, this is what has been happening. Although sometimes individuals can't even articulate what they need or what they're experiencing, but people make assumptions. And that advocacy piece is so important. Sometimes I have a senior who she's been homeless for like 2.5 years, sleeping in her car. And her mental state was such that she had just became so comfortable with living in her car. So when she was offered housing, I had to go on the journey to convince her that housing is okay. You know, she had all sorts of complaints, and then she'd become rude because she was mad at the system. So I became the mediator between the system and her, and she's happy now. I mean, but it was a journey to get her head on straight that this 1-bedroom apartment, that you may have to, I think she had to climb the stairs. And so we figured out how she could use the elevator. But everything was baby steps because her head had to be unwired. That's my layman's term, in terms of it's okay to live in this home. So it is a journey sometimes. So the shorter, the quicker we can get them into shelter, into housing, the better it is for the family and for the individual. Yeah, thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank
for-
you so much.
Thank you. Is the camera the debate that we were talking about that's on? It's on. You want me to announce it? I mean, I was gonna, you can announce it now, or you? Sure. Okay. Yes, so this is a different subject.
Changing
but-
gears a little.
But still the same because the system is the county. The Board of Supervisors District 1 forum, BAPAC, will be hosting with the Spring Valley Chamber of Commerce on June 23rd, next Monday, at 6:30. And it will be in person and online, but we're preferring in person. Both candidates have confirmed. Two mayors have confirmed, and they will be there. And we're having it intentionally in Spring Valley because it's in the unincorporated area. And what we're hearing is people saying, "What about us? What about us?" And the other piece is because of redistricting. D1 picked up East Lake, Otay Lake, those areas where high income Black voters live. Huge block that has been left out. So even though it's June 23rd, we were going to make this happen because those voices need to be heard. So we'll send out, thank you, Democratic Women's Club for sponsoring. We have close to 15 sponsors, co-sponsors, the NAACP. We even have the Young Republicans Club as one of our sponsors, and Power Up Youth and the NAACP and API. We have a diverse group of sponsors, but I think we all saw the importance of having our voices heard. And that's why it's in Spring Valley. It will be at a middle school there, and it will be at 6:30. We'll have moderators. And if you have any of you have questions, the moderators will be all D1 resident ran. It will be Cheryl Phelps, who's a D1 resident. It will be Attorney Doug Oden, who's a D1 resident. And it will be Attorney Warren. He's an attorney and he lives in Spring Valley, and he's very much into the environmental justice area. It's on the screen. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's his name.
Douglas Oden and Jeff
Oden and Jeff Winner. There, yeah, he's a D1 and he lives in Spring Valley. So we pretty much have even the moderators. Cheryl lives in the downtown area, and Doug lives in the East Lake, Otay Lakes area, and Jeff lives in the Spring Valley area. So we've pretty much even diversified our moderators. So it should be interesting. If you have questions, please send them to us. Send them to me. Or you all know my email. You know where to find me. If you can't find me, you can find Elise, and we will certainly include them. Immigration will be on there. The Tijuana River issue will be there, and many other housing, homelessness will be there as well, as issues. And Susan?
Okay, Ellen, so you're gonna give us all the information, right? And you're gonna be there, right?
Oh, yes.
And Elise is gonna be there.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we live in the unincorporated area of Mount Helix.
Oh,
So, but
that's me one?
No, Monica is our supervisor,
Okay.
but
okay.
we will be there.
Okay, definitely. We're going to be serving refreshments because we want families there, coming from work, starts at 6:30. So we'll be serving refreshments, and thank you for the donation.
And thank you for organizing.
Yeah, yes, it's a lot of work, but we were determined to make that forum happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen. Let's hear it for Ellen one more time. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to talk for a moment real quick why the Board of Supervisors District 1 race is so very, very important. It doesn't matter what district you live in, it is important to you because the balance of power in the county depends on who wins this race. We currently have 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So whoever wins that 5th seat, it's going to swing the balance of power. That's why no matter where you live, this race is important to you. So I will be there on Monday. I do happen to live in the district, and I hope that you can join us because it's a worthy cause. And I'm going to scoot down onto our agenda and hit business, new or unfinished. And then on to officer reports. I'm going to go ahead and keep talking and do my report first. Oh, we do? Okay, Danny, go ahead. Let's spotlight Danny and get him on. There we go. You just giving me a thumbs up? Okay. Danny's probably phone banking for Paloma Aguirre right now. Oh, he's on the phone. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about is we've got a fundraiser. We're not only co-sponsoring the debate on Monday, the 23rd, but there is a fundraiser on Saturday, the 21st at 2:30 p.m. And it's going to be at Kimball's Coastal Eatery in National City, not too far down south, but on the north part of National City. It's pretty close. And we would love all of you to come to that fundraiser. If you have not had the chance to meet Mayor Paloma Aguirre, it's a great opportunity because she will be there. She's going to be there for a full hour during the event, and you'll get a chance to meet her, ask questions, anything you like. And that would be in advance of the debate on Monday. Also on Saturday, oh good, we have been asked by the Women's Museum of California if we could, John, I'm airdropping to you. Oops, I don't have my Bluetooth on. That won't work. They're having a craftivism event called Pizza and Prints, where they're going to be talking about how throughout history, crafts have been used to help political causes, from the suffragettes to modern times with our screen printed t-shirts and all different ways that crafts are used in activism. They're doing print screening. So they're going to be doing canvas bags. And that's the Women's Museum of California in Balboa Park at the San Diego History Center. And we've got Susan with something here.
Yeah, Danny asks for the Paloma Aguirre fundraiser that we please RSVP, and he's dropped a link, which Kathy's going to have in the email.
That was actually in the email for tonight already. So if you go to your email that says meeting tonight, you will find the link for that. And of course, I will send it out. John, I didn't get you that, did I? Oops. Yeah, so the craftivism events are really great and informative, and the Women's Museum is just getting started in Balboa Park at the History Center. So I would love to support them. It's geared towards younger women. So if you have young people in your family, they would love you to bring the younger women, the Gen Z or millennial women. So that is on the 21st in the early part of the day. And then the Kimball Eatery is at 2:30. Monday is the forum, the debate with the two candidates. And then don't forget, we have Juneteenth this week in La Mesa. Instead of having the event that they've had the past couple of years, they're doing a pancake breakfast at MacArthur Park. So if you want to do something the morning of Juneteenth, that's available to you. And then, of course, Tuesday, July 1st is Election Day. That's the last day for you to mail your ballots or drop your ballots off at a polling place. And then we've been invited, not only Representative Jacobs has invited us to march with her in Scripps Ranch, but the Coronado Democratic Club has invited us to march in the Coronado 4th of July parade. And I will include that in my follow-up email as well, with the phone number and an email that you can reach out to those folks. And that's all I have for President report. And we're going to go, oh, I've got, hang on.
Dr. Shirley Weber, who's running for Secretary of State, she had her kickoff event Saturday at the Prado. And what was different, it was going to be downstairs, but they moved it upstairs because of security. And they had someone downstairs to make sure people who came were invited. And they also closed the blinds. So if you're planning to vote for the Secretary of State, and if you're not, get out of here. Well, her campaign is now open.
And this is Elise Pipkin-Allen. She is our member at large in charge of community engagement. So we thank her for her report. And let's see, who else have we got? Bertha is our club associate in the South area.
Yes, good evening. My name is Bertha Lopez, and I am your representative for the South Bay Area Caucus. And I just wanted to reemphasize that the District 1 race between Paloma and McCann is really on. We're getting, I'm not lying to you or exaggerating, we get at least 6 mailers per day, either attacking each other or just not telling the truth, period. And I'm hoping that everyone does go to the fundraiser on the 21st. And it's very easy to get there right off the freeway. You make if you're coming from the north, you just make a left, a right, and then you're right there at the eatery. And so please help us. We want to make sure that we get her elected. She is a woman that means well, and she's very honest, and she's not afraid to speak up for us. And I've noticed that at every single fundraiser that I've attended, and that's the reason why I'm supporting her. And also we supported here from the club. So please, if you can attend, I really urge you to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Bertha. Yes, Paloma Aguirre is our endorsed candidate. We had an endorsement meeting and we have endorsed her heartily. Whose hand is up? Jackson. Go ahead, Jackson.
Hello. I just wanted to say also on the oh, okie dokie. Hey, on the subject of Paloma Aguirre for the County Board of Supervisors, in addition to that fundraiser, if you're a real sicko like me and you like canvassing, they are doing door-to-door canvassing every Saturday and Sunday between now and the election. I'm going to be there next Saturday, the 21st, and it's a cool way to meet people and have a good time and feel like you're contributing. Canvassing is not as scary as it sounds.
Yes, and I have put the volunteer link on our social media pages as well as in the email. So please look for that if you would love to canvass. We would love to have you. All right, Vice President, Susan, do you have a report? Nothing from Susan. Hannah, Secretary, nothing from Hannah. Our membership chair, Patricia.
Hi. Okay, we have 105 members at this time, And we're also starting a little new practice where we give a pin, the red, white, and blue ribbon to new members their first meeting. So if you see someone wearing one, please introduce yourself, tell them what you're doing. Our new members come in, they want to get more active, more involved. And so you can see who they are right away. Thank you.
And thank you for doing that, Pat. All right, our treasurer.
Just wanted to say that we have approximately $2,700 in the bank. And as an individual member and not a board member, I encourage everyone, if they find a cause that the club presents to you and you want to give personal donation, go ahead. They need all the help they can get. Thank you.
And I would add that it sounds like we have a lot of money, but we have that money is already budgeted for expenses throughout the year and different causes that we support, that we pre-budget, and expenses that we have. So we are actually running pretty close to the wire this year. So, all right. Any other officers on the, Amber, do you have a report? Amber is our external vice president, right? Internal.
I don't have anything.
Internal, I'm sorry. Internal. You have nothing?
Nothing.
Thank you, Amber. And I don't see Angela. All right, well, that is all of our officers. Did you have something more to report, Elise?
I just want to say that the museum downtown is having a display of the first 17 African-American baseball players that went from the Negro League to the regular league. It's on display downtown in the library, and it's really good.
Oh, that sounds. Thank you. That sounds really fun. Speaking of baseball, go Padres, playing the Dodgers tonight. Really important games this week. Announcements, anybody? All right, I'll just say briefly, we, Elise, Angela, I, Lori, who else was at the convention 2 weeks ago? All right, Delphina, the Cassidys, wonderful. Yeah, we had a good convention. Michelle Krug was reelected as our regional director. And yeah, Rusty Hicks was reelected as the county, as the state party chair. So that was a good experience for those of us that went to the convention, and hopefully they'll have it in San Diego next time so we don't have to travel. Did we see? Yes, we saw Governor Walz was there. He was the most famous, I think. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, was there. Dr. Weber was everywhere. Saw her multiple times there. So yeah, it was a good experience. All right, any announcements?
We may have already acknowledged this, but 60,000 people at the rally. Oh my gosh. Thank you, San Diego.
Yes, we did go to the rally. It was hard to find one another. So I know a lot of us were there. We just weren't able to link up just because of the massive size of the rally. Also, we have 4 t-shirts left. We did t-shirts a couple of years ago, and those have been sitting in my closet. So there's only, I think, 2 small and 2 extra large are the sizes left. If somebody would like those, please help yourself. And having reached the end of our agenda, I'm calling this meeting adjourned, and thank you all so much for your time and attention tonight. And thank you to our guests.